Welcome back to another episode of Redneck Racing, guys. Today's video is going to be a brake video. So, as you can see right here on the floor, I have a whole ton of brake parts for the car. I've got 4-corner disc brakes for the whole thing, and a manual master cylinder and proportioning valve for disc brakes. We're kind of going to gloss over some of that. What you guys are going to want to stick around for is the fact that we're going to be able to drive the car now. So by the end of this video, we'll have her running down the road. If you want to see how a disc brake conversion works on an A-body, a GM A-body 66 or 67, or probably 64 to 72, I'm assuming everything would be very similar on either Skylark, Cutlass, GTO, or Chevelle. So if you're watching this video for that, we'll kind of touch on some of the things you need to know for doing a disc brake conversion, and then we'll jump right into driving her down the road. So make sure to stick around for that for sure. And if you're watching this video and it was at all helpful in any way, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stick around for when we take her drag racing. If you've been watching the build, great. If not, go back and watch some of the other videos. We got a full LS swap going on in this thing, so make sure to watch some of them videos, and we're going to jump right into this thing. Alright, so I'm starting up here in the front because I don't have all the stuff exactly set up to start putting the brakes actually on the car. The first thing that's going to have to go with this is the single reservoir master cylinder. So I already went ahead and unhooked everything, but basically there's 2 bolts that holds it on, and you can rip the whole thing out, and you got to unhook the clevis pin on the brake pedal, which I also already did. And then you're going to want to take this right over here and do that with it. So I already kind of test fitted this. It fits fine. I'm sure all these parts are going to fit fine. The kit that I got comes with the master cylinder, comes with the proportioning valve, it comes with the brake lines that go from the master cylinder to the proportioning valve. And then I'm going to have to rig up some kind of additional something with the line lock. I got a line lock kit for the car. So here's the line lock that I got. It was just a cheap Amazon line lock kit. It was the, I don't know, whatever one had the most positive reviews on Amazon. I got it. It was like 35 bucks. It looks the exact same as the $100 one that you can get from Moroso or Summit or Jegs, and then it was less than half the price. It's probably the same part. And it also came with a switch to run the line lock you can mount on your shifter. That's actually pretty slick. Okay, so real quick, just a couple things I ran into in installing this master cylinder right here. The first being the proportioning valve bracket has this, it bolts onto this top nut, but at least on my car, there was 4 bolts here instead of just the 2, probably for an application where there's a brake booster on it. It probably needed 4 studs there. And the bottom stud on the driver's side interfered with this bracket, so I had to drill another hole. I didn't put a nut on it because, as you can see, I'd need to put some kind of spacer in there. I just drilled a hole, and now that's basically just keeping it from swinging back and forth like that, and this nut is holding it on. Alright, now we're going to start working on the front brakes. This is probably going to be the most difficult, just because you gotta take more stuff apart, I think, in order to get this together. The first step is going to be get the old drum brakes off of there. You got to get the old drum off, get the old shoes off. That's not really crazy difficult. They say you need to have a drum brake tool in order to get these springs off of here. Just get a pair of pliers and go in there with the pliers, push the spring in, twist it, it pops right out. Pull these big springs off. You can do that with the pliers too. And you got to take this big nut out of the top here, and then the shoes just come off and around that. I'm assuming most people would know how to do that. the next thing that you're going to have to do is pop off the dust cap here on the big nut that holds everything in here. So that comes right off like that. Then there's going to be a cotter pin and a castle nut on here. I'm probably going to need 2 hands to do the majority of the rest of this, but this will come off. Once the castle nut is off, there's a bearing inside of there. Take that, the bearing out, and then this whole thing right here that spins on the bearing will all come off. Then we can get this backing plate off of the spindle, and then we'll work on, I'm pretty sure in order to install this, well, yeah, it comes with new spindles, so we're going to have to pop off the upper and lower ball joints, as well as this ball joint right here on the tie rod. Real quick before I go ahead and unhook the steering arm, this right here is the steering arm. Before I unhook that from the spindle right here, I'm going to pop this ball joint off. I'm pretty sure the instructions say to do this first anyways, but it would be very difficult to try and pop this off with the steering arm not connected to anything. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that it's still connected. I just put this bolt back on first. I got the backing plate off and got that out of the way just so I can get at this a little bit easier. And I just put the nut back on this bolt to kind of hold everything there. And I already got the cotter pin out of here, and I'm going to buzz this nut off, get the pickle fork in here, and pop this ball joint. Alright folks, as you can see here now, we have entered the danger zone. So basically what I got going on here is you leave the nut on the bottom of the upper ball joint, and then I got a couple of these things. I had to use a smaller one in here. Send that thing up in here, tap her in with the hammer, pops it loose, and then what I'm going to do now is just try and support the whole unit on the jack and get the spring to compress up. See, look, now there's no more tension on this. I can spin the nut again. So now what I'm going to do, basically the whole thing is unloaded now. I can go in here, whack out this ball joint down here, get the whole spindle out of here, and then put the new spindle in and cinch everything back down. I'm going to have to wait a little bit. Since I'm in here doing this, I'm going to replace all the ball joints just because it's kind of a pain to get this far, and if I'm this far, might as well replace everything. Uh-oh. That's probably not good.
Shake hands with danger.
Alright, we're over here on the passenger side now. This just happened to be the one that I took the spindle off of first. The other one, I popped all the ball joints. It's just hanging with the nuts holding it together yet. It doesn't matter, both sides are the same. Anyways, got the spindle off. It's right there. And to get these ball joints off, well, the one on the bottom, we'll get a tool to just press that out. You could probably smash it out with a hammer, but I don't know. Autoport stores rent you these tools for free, so I'm probably just going to take advantage of that. The upper one, I guess, we got to grind these rivets out. As you can see, right on here, there's these rivets in here. So I'm going to either grind them out or drill them out, maybe. I'll probably try and grind them out first, because I like angle grinders. And then we'll be able to bolt the new one in. I'm pretty sure the new one just comes with bolts to bolt it in. So we'll get right into that. Alright, I'm just going to show you guys the whole installation process on this side. The other side is going to be exactly the same. The first thing that you got to do, or maybe have to do, is modify the steering arm. The bolts that go through here, they give you new bolts for this, and they're 1/2-inch bolts. And I think the factory bolts are 7/16 probably, or maybe I think they're 7/16. Anyways, you'll have to drill these holes out to 1/2-inch if they're not already 1/2-inch. So I've already gone ahead and done that. I just did it with a handheld drill. It would probably be easier with a drill press, but I don't have one of those. So the next step then is going to be to get this spindle mounted up in there. So basically how that's gonna work is this is just gonna set on there like that, put the nut and the castle nut and the cotter pin in, do the same on the top, torque them down. I'll have to look up the torque specs. I think it's about 50, maybe 50 on the bottom and 40 on the top. They don't have to be crazy tight, because you want this to be able to turn, obviously. So I'm going to get that torqued in and then show you guys how to assemble the rest of everything. Alright, there's the spindle installed. As you can see, the jack is now out from underneath it, because we don't need to let any of the weight hang on the spindle's holding the upper and lower control arms together now, so the spring isn't going to go flying out of there. I wound up torquing the bottom nut to 65 plus a little bit extra just to get the cotter pin to line up. I torqued the upper one to 60 plus a little bit extra to get the cotter pin to line up. Now I guess we're going to install the backing plate, caliper bracket, and the steering arm. The kit doesn't come with new steering arms. Like I said, use the old one, and then we can reattach the tie rod. There's the finished product for the front. Couple things just at the end that you want to make sure you remember. Hook up your flex hose. They give you new clips to put it in there. This car still had the factory brackets on it, so I just use that. I would recommend, if possible, installing those steering arm bolts the other way. The banjo bolt fits, but it's pretty tight with the it's hard to see, but that's the steering arm bolt right there. Maybe that's a better shot, I don't know, I can't see what I'm pointing the camera at. If you can and that doesn't interfere with the rotor, I'd install it the other way. The other thing, there's a grease zerk on the bottom of the ball joint down there. I don't know where it is, but make sure you install the grease zerk in there. I had to put new grease zerks in there because the threads were all messed up on my ball joints because somebody had to hit them with a hammer to get them in. So I just went and got some self-threading ones and ran it in there. Other than that, the front is done. Now we can go ahead and move on to the rear. Alright, so we're working on the back brakes now. I went ahead and got the brackets are all on both sides, and we were kind of working on getting the rotors put on, and we had a lot of problems with the rotors. The first problem is that those are 1/2-inch studs, and the holes that they give you with this kit are 7/16. So Peter went ahead and drilled out the holes in these things, and then we went to line them up on there. And the next problem that we had is, which it did say this in the instructions, this radius right here is smaller than this radius right here. So how you're supposed to do that is take the axle out and put it in a lathe. But that's not going to get the car running like today. So we're basically going to make our own lathe, which is called turn the car on and put it in gear. And we're going to see how that goes. So stay tuned for that. Probably going to get a little interesting.
Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Riding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Finger Joe.
Alright folks, we finally got the brakes finished up on the 66 Skylark. So as you can see, we're kind of clearing a path here, which means we're finally going to take this thing out and actually drive it. We didn't record some of the rear brake stuff because we had a lot of issues with getting brake lines and stuff to fit, and we wound up having to do some modifications. Took a couple videos, which you guys probably saw. Got a little interesting at some times, but anyways, we're gonna probably take the deck lid off because we don't have pins for that yet, and then fire this up and go take it for a little spin around the block and make sure everything works. So yeah. Oh yeah, that brake pedal's awful. We definitely gotta bleed that some more.
Yeah. Well, let's roll her outside and just pump it.
Yeah.
this rig? Where is the...
yours
that's
is
down
just
here.
down there.
Oh, it wasn't even shut the whole time? Oh, shoot.
That is how you know you're doing it right.
Oh, gosh, now I almost yanked your ECU out of the car. Holy balls, this is dangerous. Hopefully I didn't wreck nothing.
Alright, so we went in, changed the rev limiter because we had that set at $4,000 from the last time we had it running, and we just wanted to like make it do two-step. So we just set it at $4,000 before, but now it's set to $6,000. So we should be able to make a semi full-ish or pull and see how that goes.